My sister called me from Nigeria on a Tuesday morning. I was in my kitchen in London making tea when she said the four words that stopped my heart completely. Ada, the house is gone. I thought I had misheard her. I asked her to repeat it. She did. Gone. The house I had spent 10 years of my life building from nothing. The house I had sacrificed holidays, new clothes, comfort, and savings for. Gone. What do you mean gone? My voice was very calm, the way a person goes calm just before they collapse. Chukwuemeka sold it, Ada. He sold the house. My brother, my own blood, the one I trusted with everything. I sat down on the kitchen floor, still holding my mug of tea. I did not cry, not yet. The shock was too large for tears. 10 years earlier, I left Enugu for London at the age of 27 with one box, one carry-on bag, and 45,000 naira in my pocket that my mother had pressed into my hand at the airport. She held my face in both her palms at the departure gate and said, "Do not forget us." I never did. I got a cleaning job first, night shifts at an office building in Canary Wharf. Cold corridors, fluorescent lights, the smell of industrial detergent. I did that for 2 years without complaining. Then I added a second job on weekends at a Nigerian restaurant in Peckham, washing dishes. I sent money home every single month, never missed 1 month in 10 years, not even in December when the bills were highest, not even when I was sick with pneumonia and could barely stand. My dream was simple. Build a house in Enugu. A proper house, not a face me, I face you. A house with a compound, a gate, a garden where my mother could sit in the evenings. A house that said, "Our family made it." A house that would be mine when I finally came home. I started buying land in year 3. A plot in New Haven. A good area, quiet, growing. I paid in installments over 18 months. Every payment transferred through my brother Chukwuemeka, who handled everything on the ground. Chukwuemeka was my elder brother by 4 years. He had not traveled. He had not gotten the opportunities I got. He stayed in Enugu, did small business here and there, lived in our mother's house. I never looked down on him for it. We were close. Or I believed we were close. He was the one who found the land. He negotiated the price. He dealt with the local agent, handled the receipts, sent me photographs at every stage. I trusted him completely. When the building started in year 5, I was sending home between 800 and 1,200 pounds every month. Every window, every door, every bag of cement I paid for from London. Chukwuemeka supervised the builders, sent me progress photos, called me with updates. We spoke every Sunday without fail. He would describe which room was being plastered, which tiles had arrived, how the gate was looking. "Ada, the house is coming out fine," he would say. "You will be proud." "We will all be proud," I always answered. "It is our family house." He never corrected me on that. He just said yes. My mother was alive through most of the building. She died in year 8, 2 years before the house was completed. I came home for the burial, stayed 3 weeks, visited the site. The walls were up, the roof was on. I stood in the unfinished sitting room and cried, thinking of her. Chukwuemeka stood beside me with his hand on my shoulder. "She knew you were building it for her," he said. "She was proud of you." I believed him. I believed everything he said. I went back to London and kept sending money. The finishing took another 2 years. Tiles, plumbing, electrical fittings, ceiling, painting, gate, compound, everything. By the time the house was complete, I had sent home the equivalent of over 47 million naira across 10 years, every kobo documented in my own personal records. In January of that year, I booked my flight home. One way. I was done with London. I was 37, tired, and ready to go home. To my house.
I called Chukwuemeka to tell him. He was quiet for a moment too long. "Okay," he said. "Good. We will celebrate when you arrive." I did not notice the pause. I was too happy. I landed at Enugu Airport on a Friday afternoon. The harmattan was dry and sharp. I had forgotten how the air tasted at home, dusty and warm and alive. My cousin Obiageli picked me up because Chukwuemeka said he had a business meeting he could not cancel. I thought nothing of it. We drove toward New Haven. I was looking out the window at familiar streets, pointing things out to Obiageli, laughing about how much had changed and how much had not. When we turned onto the street where the house stood, I sat up straighter in the seat. Something was wrong. There was a different gate, not the black iron gate I had paid for, a brown metal gate, newer. And on the compound wall, a small sign I could not read from the moving car. "Slow down," I told Obiageli. She slowed. I read the sign. Goldfield Properties Limited, private residence, no trespassing. The car stopped. I got out without saying a word. I walked to the gate and pressed the bell. A security guard appeared. "Good afternoon. I am looking for this property. This is my house." The guard frowned. "This property belongs to Oga Emeka Goldfield. He bought it 6 months ago. Are you sure you have the right address?" I read him the address from my own phone, the address I had memorized like a prayer for 10 years. He confirmed it was the same. I stood at the gate of my own house like a stranger and felt the ground disappear beneath my feet. I called Chukwuemeka. He did not pick up. I called again and again. On the 5th call, he answered. "Ada?" His voice was flat, careful. "Chukwuemeka? Where are you?" "I am at home." "Which home? Because I am standing in front of my house in New Haven, and a security guard is telling me it was sold 6 months ago. Explain to me what is happening." Silence. "Chukwuemeka." "Ada, I can explain." "Then explain, right now on this phone." He could not explain. "Not on the phone," he said. "Come to the house," he said. "We will talk like family," he said. I have never in my life felt hatred the way I felt it in that moment. Pure, cold, quiet hatred. Not the hot kind that makes you scream. The quiet kind that makes you think clearly. "I am coming," I said. "Do not go anywhere." He was sitting in the parlor of our mother's house when I arrived, the house where we grew up. He looked smaller than I remembered, older. He could not meet my eyes. I sat across from him and put my bag down slowly. "Tell me everything," I said, "from the beginning. Leave nothing out." He talked for almost an hour. The story came out in pieces, shameful and broken. 3 years ago, he had gotten into a business deal that went wrong, a timber supply contract with a company that turned out to be fraudulent. He lost money. Then he borrowed to recover the loss and lost again. The debt grew. Creditors started coming to the house. He was desperate.
He went to a lawyer he knew, a man with loose morals and a quiet office in Ogui Road. Together, they produced a power of attorney, my signature forged, my name, my details, authorizing Chukwuemeka to act on my behalf in all property matters. The notary seal was purchased. The documents looked real because someone had made them real enough. He listed the house with an agent, sold it in 2 months to a developer from Abuja for 38 million naira, paid his debts, kept the rest. He had been living with this secret for 6 months, waiting for my call, dreading my return. "Ada, I am sorry," he said at the end, his voice cracked. I did not know what else to do. I looked at my brother for a long time, the boy who used to carry me on his back when I was small, the man who stood beside me at our mother's grave, the person I had called every Sunday for 10 years. "You knew what else to do," I said quietly. "You could have called me and told me the truth. I would have helped you. I was your sister. That is what I was for." He started to cry. I stood up, picked up my bag, and walked out. I did not cry. Not there, not in front of him. Outside, I sat in Obiageli's car and told her everything. She held my hand and said nothing for a while. Then she said, "What do you want to do?" "I want to get a lawyer," I said, "today." The lawyer's name was Barrister Neka Okafor, a sharp woman of about 50, recommended by Obiageli's husband. I was in her office by 6 p.m. that same Friday evening, still carrying my travel bag. She listened to everything without interrupting. When she finished, she leaned back in her chair and looked at me carefully. "Do you have documentation of every transfer you made over the 10 years? "Every single one," I said. "Bank records, receipts, photographs with dates, WhatsApp messages discussing each stage of construction, everything." She nodded slowly.
and the power of attorney he used. You never signed it? Never. Then we have a case, she said. Forgery of a power of attorney is a criminal offense. Fraudulent sale of property is a criminal offense. We will pursue both. Criminal complaints to the police and a civil case to recover the property or its full value. Can I get the house back? The buyer may be an innocent third party, which complicates recovering the physical property, but we can pursue the full market value plus damages from your brother. She paused. This will be difficult. He is family. Are you prepared for what that means? I thought of my mother. I thought of 10 years of night shifts and cold corridors and money sent home every month without fail. I thought of standing at my own gate like a trespasser. He stopped being family the day he forged my name. She filed the criminal complaint the following Monday. Chukwuemeka was arrested on Wednesday. The interrogation revealed everything the lawyer had predicted. The false power of attorney, the complicit notary, the agent who asked no questions. All of them were pulled into the case. Chukwuemeka did not fight it. He confessed fully. Perhaps he was relieved to stop carrying it. Perhaps he knew there was no path out. Either way, his confession made the case move faster. The developer who bought the house was contacted. His lawyers initially resisted, but when the forged documents were presented in court and verified by handwriting experts, the transaction was declared fraudulent. The sale was voided. My house came back to me. Chukwuemeka received 18 months in prison and a court order to repay the legal costs. The notary lost his license. The agent was fined. I moved into the house in April, 3 months after I had stood at that gate as a stranger. The developer's people had repainted the sitting room a color I did not choose. I painted it again myself, a warm cream, the color I had always imagined. I planted a small garden in the compound, not as grand as I had dreamed when my mother was alive, but real and mine. Obi Ageli helped me hang curtains the first weekend. We drank Malta and ate fried plantain on the veranda and laughed about small things. The harmattan had softened by then. The evenings were cooler, gentler. I did not attend my brother's trial. I gave my statement in writing and let the law do what it was there to do. Some of my relatives called to beg me to drop the case, to forgive, to remember that he was blood. I listened to each of them politely and said the same thing every time. I forgive him in my heart. That is for my own peace. But forgiveness does not cancel consequences. What he did was a crime, and the law must answer it. None of them called again after that. Chukwuemeka wrote me a letter from prison 6 months in. 3 pages, handwritten. He said he was sorry. He said our mother would be ashamed of him. He said he hoped one day he would let me explain in person. I read the letter twice. Then I folded it and put it in a drawer. Maybe one day, but not yet. Some wounds need more than a letter. I found a job teaching at a private secondary school in New Haven. Literature and English. I was good at it. The students were loud and funny and full of life, and they made me remember what it felt like to want things. In the evenings, I sat on my veranda, in my house, on my compound, and watched the neighborhood settle into night. Generators humming, children called inside, the smell of cooking from neighboring kitchens. I had dreamed of this for 10 years. I had paid for it twice over. But I was here. There is a particular kind of strength that only comes from betrayal survived, not the loud, dramatic strength of someone who fought and won, the quiet kind, the kind that sits on its own veranda in the evening and simply breathes and knows that it is enough. My mother used to say, what is yours will always find its way back to you, but you must be strong enough to receive it. I was strong enough. The house is mine. My name is on the title. And every evening when I lock that gate, I say a small, quiet thank you to God, to my mother wherever she is, and to myself for not giving up. If this story moved you, please subscribe so you never miss the next one. You can support the channel through super thanks. It means more than you know. Drop your city and the time in the comments. I want to see how far this story has traveled. 2 more stories are waiting for you on the screen right now. Click one and let us keep this time together. Much love. See you soon.